Okay, we are recording. Okay, if everybody wants to mute themselves, and then we can unmute ourselves as needed.
Did Christy so do I go? Or are you?
Yeah, why don't you, we're set.
Okay, all right. Okay.
We're set.
I'm going to just take it over as if it's my call.
Yeah.
I was guests never just kind of jump on. So I'll go ahead and get started. Christy, thanks for having me. Good to get a chance to chat with Team Extreme. I've known of you guys for a long time. I've known Christy and Shannon and Tammy and the whole team, and obviously meeting Lori over at the New Leader Conference. So I spoke with Christy before my paternity leave, and I thought I would jump on and give you a few thoughts as we look in the year. We've got 4 more days in the month of September, and then, of course, 3 more months. It's kind of crazy to think about that, October, November, and December. And so what I want to talk about today, through a lot of different examples, is kind of this idea of a discipline when you don't feel like being disciplined, which is where I believe most winners are made. I believe that's where most champions are built. It's having the discipline to do things when you really don't feel like doing it. And I want to share at the end of this call some very specific examples of what a few top coaches have done and what exactly they did to get to where they are. You're going to find that some of these happen to be common sense, but they're not necessarily common practice. What I find some of these coaches have been able to do is they've been able to take these themes or principles, and they've found an easy way, easy and simple way to apply that in their business and in their lives. And because this is a business that is very much intertwined with your life, if you are not able to integrate the business into your life and you keep them separate, there's no way you're going to be successful in reaching your goals. And so what I want to start, though, since we're talking about persistence, I want to talk about what we're up against, okay? Because it's easy to talk about be consistent, and you hear that word thrown around all the time. The problem is there's obviously something that persistence or the idea of persistence sounding good runs up against, right? So I've got my notes here. I'll glance at them, make sure that I keep on time and give you all that I need to give you. So first of all, before you were even a Beachbody coach, before you even, whether you purchased P90X or Insanity, were a customer of Beachbody's, all of us had this map of our reality. All of us have designed what we believe is our reality. And a lot of that is based on our upbringing. A lot of that is based on the experience that we go through as kids and young adults. A lot of that depends on the interactions that we have with people. And so that represents the map of our reality. And I don't know, at some point, we take that map of our reality to then define ourselves, who we are, what we're good at, what we're not so good at, what we like, what we don't like, so on and so forth. Now, as you have all this stuff that you bring with you, some of these stuff, if you look at if you were to take, like, this is where all the pens are, okay? This is where I keep my pens. It says Carpe Diem on it, by the way. But if this is our reality, some of it is good stuff. Some of it is like baggage that we don't really need. Some of it is like useless stuff, like this charger that's been in here for like 3 years that I don't really need. Some of it is like a Subway card. That's good stuff, but I never really use it. And some of it is actually like staplers that I actually use, but it's buried so far beneath this that I don't even go to it, right? And so in this kind of map of our reality, you both have good stuff, a solid upbringing, and you also have bad stuff. Every single one of us have that. And let's call the bad stuff baggage, right? What we do with it is how we lead our lives. Now, I want to share as we get started two coaches that are very, very different in where they're from, their background, and what they ended up doing in the business, okay? The first coach, this first coach used to live in a rural area of the United States. The coach, had a couple of kids. Her and her husband, at least her husband for sure, was a teacher. And as they started their Beachbody journey, they actually moved to several different states over and had to restart in a place where they didn't know anybody. And by the way, this same coach did not have a whole lot of direct upline support. They had an upline, but they didn't have direct upline support, right? So the context is moving from one state to the other, not a whole lot of direct upline support, and having to kind of rebuild their lives in this new place. That's coach number one. Coach number two is this. He's a guy who's an athletic trainer, lives in a fast-paced city, has a lot of fitness connections. By the way, has tremendous direct upline support. One of the, call him, Beachbody superstars. And just has everything basically handed to them, has a terrific story, transformation before and after, and that's coach number one. So if I were to describe those two coaches, Stacy, if I were to approach you with those two coaches, one coach is kind of like rebuilding their life around, and then the second coach, super well connected, athletic trainer, has a before and after, and has incredible upline support. Which coach has the best chance at being successful here at Beachbody? Coach number one or coach number two? Just sign one or two. Number two. Number one or two? Number two. Okay. Duh. Right? Exactly. I mean, thank you. Number two.
I'm sorry. Can you put yourself on mute until you talk? Because I can hear a lot of kids in background noise.
I think it's coming from people that are on the phone.
The call-in people. All three
call-in people. Can people on the phones? Can you? I don't know. Can they? How can they put themselves on mute, Arnold? On their phone.
It should be they can just mute their phones.
Yeah, just mute their phone. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Awesome. You can actually mute them too, Christy, I believe, but I'm not sure. So let's get back to the story. Thank you. I was able to take a water break. I've talked a lot today. So coach number one or number two, obviously everybody goes coach number two because they're connected and all that stuff. Okay, so coach number two called me about October of last year. This is someone that I've known for a long time. This coach is actually out of Toronto, Canada, and they were one of the first 10 diamonds in the whole country of Canada. Incredible, right? This coach, fast forward, 3 years after they had been a coach, calls me in October last year, completely panicked and going, I need to talk to you. I happened to be on some phone calls. I wasn't able to talk to him until the afternoon. And we finally get on the phone, and he basically tells me that, for 3 consecutive months, he hasn't paid his business service fees. So what happens if you haven't paid your business service fees for 3 consecutive months? Your account is canceled, right? So he calls me, and this is someone, again, has incredible upline support, and has all the reasons in the world to be successful. After 3 months of not paying his business service fees, I don't know what happened, and being stuck, by the way, at Diamond. He was one of the first 10 diamonds, and then he got stuck, okay? At Diamond, he lost his business. Every single one of his coaches rolled up to his upline, and he tells me he had about 400 customers, all went to his upline, okay? That's coach number two, someone that you think is going to absolutely crush the business. Coach number one, by the way, has now developed an incredible team, And if you're not familiar with that coach, I must not have described that coach very well, because that coach is your coach, Christy Paramore. She left Georgia. She had to rebuild her life in Michigan. She did not have direct upline. She's got fantastic upline past the direct. You know, Jeffrey Armbruster, you guys are all in touch with, and Jason Diebold, but she did not have direct upline support. A matter of fact, I remember meeting her and Tammy and Shannon out in Frankenmuth, Michigan, and really just talking about what her plans are. And the one thing that stood out with her is, regardless of what happens, I'm going to persist through this. This kind of reality that I'm in, the only way that I break through it is by being persistent, because nobody's going to hand me a great life on a silver platter. That's the background of all this. It doesn't matter how much we have and what we do. What's that, Christy?
It's so funny because as you were saying coach number one, I was like, that was me. Yeah.
That is you. That is you.
They wrote a coach story about me. I'm on Google. If they type in my name, they'll be able to read about me. Beachbody wrote I was picked for the month. They wrote an article about me, how I lived in like the most rural place in the United States, and how I still built a successful business living in like one of the most rural places in the United States. Yeah, it was.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. And I use your story often, Christy. And I use, you know, I use, you know, I'm not going to obviously mention that other coach, right? But you can tell how the map, whatever reality that you have, directly impacts kind of what you do, you know, and how you execute on things, right? So then my question is, if everybody knows that, you know, persistence really is the key to reaching your goals, I ask myself, why are people not more persistent? Right? It's kind of like, why are you not more persistent? If you just stick with it, you should be able to reach your goals. You should be able to get up in the morning, go at 5 a.m. in the morning, whether it's in your basement or in your garage, get that workout in, you're going to have the results, right? After 30 days or 21 days or 60 days or 90 days, you're going to get the results. But most people are not doing it, right? And so I started looking at kind of like, you know, studying people's habits, right? And when you think about it, for instance, right, if you're coming to Beachbody again, you have all this conditioning that comes with you as well. Let's talk about if you're working at a job, okay? If you're working at a job and you're working in a company in a specific department, you're going to find that there's people that are just top performers, right? You know, take, for instance, pharmaceutical industry. Shannon happens to be on. She's a top performer, and I remember her talking to me about how she had earned all these trips, you know, with her company. She's a top performer. That's a different that's a different industry, but really it uses the same principles in terms of work ethic and all that. But within those same companies, or maybe where you work, you're going to have top performers that work a lot of hours, that work 50, 60 hours. And then you're going to have a few that literally work 35 to 40, just enough to keep a job. And then sometimes what happens at the end of the year, when it's time for a raise, an increase, right, a cost of living adjustment, everybody gets the same cost of living adjustment. Whether you work hard, your heart out, okay, or whether you work just enough and you're at the water cooler more than at your desk. And after a while of doing that, these people that are top performers are going to start doing less. They're going to start being less persistent. They're going to start doing a little bit less, because why work more if you're not going to earn more than someone that is working less, right? That's like Exhibit A. Exhibit B, think about growing up. How many of you have kids? How many of you have children? Just raise your hands. Okay. Now, as you sit down with your kids to help them with homework, okay, or at the end of the year as you're looking back at the year, one of the things that we really look to is you need to make sure that you pass your class. You need to make sure that you have A's and B's. You need to make sure that you have good grades, because failing is a bad thing, right? You don't want to stay in the same grade. It's a bad thing, right? Okay, fast forward to now, you're a Beachbody coach, and what are some of the things that you hear the most? You need to fail big and you need to fail often, which completely goes against what you've been taught and the things that you know about, success and achievement and then performing at a high level. So a part of what you need to do, both you and your new coaches, is to take all that conditioning and completely change it, right? Completely change it. Now let's get some things straight. As you work your business, let's put all the cards on the table. Number one, you're going to question your sanity. You're going to question your sanity, especially when you're working the business early in the morning or at lunch during your break, and you're having your lunch and you're like doing follow-ups, or even waking up early in the morning, in the cold and doing your workout, or working late at night. If you don't question your sanity, the closest people to you will question your sanity. It's normal if so, right? Number two, because of that, you're going to be questioned by some of your closest friends. Some of the people that support you are going to question you. Matter of fact, I wouldn't doubt if some of your best friends told you not to build your Beachbody business, not to waste your time with your Beachbody thing. You're going to get some of that. That's going to be part of what happens because you're going against the grain and you're doing things that most people are not used to, right? It's an unconventional way that I believe as we become this commerce, this kind of personal commerce economy is going to be the way to interact with people, where you're moving from big companies and big advertising to people coming to you, friend, and saying, what do you like? Okay. And coming to you, Tamara, and saying, what makeup do you wear? Or where do you shop for your workout clothes or whatever, right? Where people start going to that personal commerce of exchanging, goods and services and coming to the people that are actually using it, not watching some commercial or infomercial, by the way. It's part of our adapting as well to this new economy and understanding exactly, how Lori liked her latest shoes that she purchased, right? And so you will be questioned by your closest friends. And then number three, you're going to feel like quitting sometimes. It's normal. You're going to feel like quitting your fitness program that you're on. You're going to feel like quitting your business sometimes after that one person that you knew was going to be your next diamond just kind of disappears and goes into the witness protection program, can't return any phone calls anymore or emails or text messages. That happens, right? You're going to feel like that, okay? Okay, so what if we turn that whole thing around and I give you 4 things you can absolutely do that other coaches have done that can completely switch your results around? What I want to share is 4 principles, 4 steps to developing persistence, right? And if you already are persistent because you are a leader and you're on this call, great. Hopefully it just, it's another tool to your tool belt that you add. But for your coaches that are going to need this, it's going to be super important that you share them, with them, these principles. The nice thing about principles, they worked back in the 70s. They're going to work today. They're going to work in 50 years. Principles don't change. Facebook algorithms might change. Your friends might change, but these do not change, right? And so what I want to do is I want to share these 4, okay? And this is, if you want to take notes, this is where you want to start taking notes on exactly what these 4 are, okay? The first principles to developing persistence is you need to raise your standards. Raise your standards. And this is something that I saw a coach that I worked with, that I've been working with. She had, when she started her business, it took her 6 months to get to Emerald. Then it took her another year to get to Diamond. Hello. And then in another year, she went 1-star Diamond. So it took her 2.5 years to get to 1-star Diamond. Every single month that she was working her business, she kept raising her standards. And at some point, her standards start matching her results. It just took her 2.5 years. But if you were to ask her if those 2.5 years were worth it, and it was worth it being persistent that long, she would tell you absolutely yes. That same coach won the leadership award at Summit. She's a 15-star Diamond, Leslie Cordes, and she actually has developed 2 top 10 coaches, Anita Myron and Raina Odell. part of raising her standards is kind of switching her mentality from a should, could, or would. She put her back against the wall and she put herself between a rock and a hard place where she said, I don't have a choice. I have to make this happen. At the time that she started, she had big reasons to get started. Her husband, Jeff, had just started, his law practice, and they needed her income to pay the extra bills that they started piling up, because part of setting up a practice is taking on a lot of debt. So she literally went from kind of being comfortable to being uncomfortable, right? If you're too comfortable, that's a problem. If you're too comfortable, you're not going to go above and beyond, right? So really evaluate where you are, evaluate your standards and say, do I have a goal, right? What exactly is your goal, right? And put a date to it, right? Put a date to it, and then write down how you're going to feel once you've reached that goal, right? Because if we're going to do anything, we're moved by emotions, right? Write down exactly, again, your purpose, your goal, put a date to it, and then write down how you're going to feel after having achieved it. Because the reason why you want to go through that exercise is that you act consistently with who you believe you are. You act consistently with who you believe you are. So you might say to us, yes, I want to be a 15-star diamond, but inside of you, if mentally you're saying, man, the most I'm going to be is a 2-star diamond, guess what your ceiling is going to be? 2-star diamond. It won't matter what you do. Somehow you just kind of get back to that 2-star diamond. And in order to change that, you have to completely raise your standards, right? You work for Leslie Cordes, it can absolutely work for you. That's principle number 1. Number 2, okay? Number 2 is I worked with this coach that was a teacher, and she was a teacher over in Saskatchewan, Canada. She was super disciplined, and she created an action plan and created a routine. And her routine was simple. Every day for 6 days a week, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, a birthday celebration, she doesn't feel like it, every day for 6 days a week, from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., she worked her business. And she did that consistently for a year, 5 to 7 a.m. And here's how she broke it down. This is literally what her routine was. Wake up, do your personal development, do your workout, do all those literally within 40 minutes, right? And then use basically the hour and 20 minutes to connect, to literally add and connect and invite and follow up. She's adding, she's connecting, she's inviting, she's following up. Those were literally the 3 things that she did. She did her personal development, she worked out, and then she essentially did the 3 vital behaviors. But she did it consistently, right? And then what she did as it progressed and as she started building a team, later in the day, if she did have some time, she gave some of that time to her coaches through Zoom calls, through one-on-one calls, through 3-way calls. But she took care of her business first before she took care of the rest of her coaches, right? So essentially what she did, she found her rhythm in terms of the 3 vital behaviors. There's multiple different systems there. There's the power of 3 that Annie Reed talks about. There's the daily 4 that Aaron Young talks about. You guys might have your own system, but find a system that works and make sure you execute against it on a daily basis. That same coach is now 9-star. She's a 9-star diamond, Morgan Rieger. After a year, she was able to make the decision to come home full-time and work her business. Now, the nice thing about this system is it doesn't matter if you've been building a business for a while and you're now having to create this new system, or if you're a brand new coach, anybody can up and decide to do this. This is simple, right? The nice thing about keeping it simple, you won't have to think about it much. You know exactly what you need to do. I think that sometimes we overcomplicate things, and by overcomplicating what we need to do, we don't do it. We don't do a half of it. We don't do a third of it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is write down your action plan, create routines, and if you already have those, really take a look at them and say, am I overcomplicating it? Where can I simplify it? where can I reduce the amount of tasks that I do from 10 to 5 down to 3? Because you're much more likely to actually engage and do it if you have a shorter success list, like Janelle Summers talks about, versus a mile-long to-do list, right? A much shorter success list versus a mile-long to-do list, right? So the principle number 2 is write your action plan and create routines. And the routines have got to be non-negotiable, right? You worked for Morgan Rieger, it was fantastic, okay? That's number 2. Number 3. Number 3 is simple. Close your mind to all negative influences. Close your mind to all negative influences. Sometimes negative influences, they don't need to be, they don't need to come out, heavy and strong. An example of a negative a negative influence could be someone saying, you're wasting your time with that Beachbody thing. It's never going to go anywhere. I'm pretty sure you're involved in a scam. I'm sure none of you have ever heard that. You know what a pyramid is. They don't even know what it is themselves, right? And that's like an outwardly negative thing. But those actually don't happen as much as the subtle little digs that we get either at family reunion or maybe coworkers that you work with that will say things like, hey, are you still doing that Beachbody thing? Or what's another one that you hear all the time? Are you like, they'll say things like, are you working out? Questioning your fitness, right? Just little jabs here and there, right? It runs the whole gamut from like super negative to like slightly negative. Okay, you have to make the decision to completely shut yourself from that. Because a negative mind just does not prosper. And quite frankly, if you post a before and after, you might have 100 comments, 99 of them being positive. That one negative comment is going to eat at you. It's going to take more mental space than the 99 that are telling you what a terrific transformation you had. And so what you need to do is you need to completely shut yourself down from them. Here's what that means. It means that, you're going to find that you find a new chosen family, right? New friends. And sometimes you might even lose, some friends, and if you bring anything up, keep it on anything but Beachbody. Because the moment you bring Beachbody up, then they start putting up a wall. The interesting thing, and Christy Kronzer talked about it during the National Wake Up Call this morning, she said, I could be at a cocktail party or at a parent-teacher conference or wherever, and you'll have the teachers brag about their jobs, the nurses talk about how much they're fulfilled at the hospital, yet the coach never talks about the lives that are changed in their challenge groups, right? Why is that? Why don't we talk more about that? And she talks basically the number one thing that holds us back is kind of that fear of failure. And by continuously opening up ourselves to those negative influences, that fear of failure just increases, right? And the more it increases, the less you're likely to do anything about it. By the way, sometimes you'll find that those negative influences happen from the people closest to you, your family, right? Let me give you an example. Superstar Diamond, Amy Silverman. Right? She made a decision to completely shut herself off from negative influence, but she also, by the way, it took her 2.5 years to become a star diamond as well. She also went on Facebook, and because in this world of social media, there's a lot of comparison, right? She unfollowed all the people that she had been looking at, that she had been following, their Beachbody journey, because she realized that knocked her off her game. She spent more time comparing herself with these people, more time comparing her ads and their transformation with these people than actually controlling what she could control, which is the vital behaviors. And so something as simple as unfollowing some people, they're good people, right? They're good people. They're great people, and they do things very well. But something as simple as unfollowing some of these people just kind of clears up your mind to be focused on the task at hand, which is every single day having the discipline, every single day that you're working the business, having the discipline to move your business forward and to move the needle. which is super important, okay? So number 3, close your mind to all negative influences. I'm going to end with number 4, which I think is one of the more important principle to creating persistence and consistency in your life. Now, I want to illustrate it by an example. So 1998, Carl and John, quit their positions as marketing directors, I think, or marketing managers at the company that produces Proactive. I can't remember the name of the company, but anyway, it's a giant in the infomercial industry, and they believe they can produce infomercials that can sell. They choose to focus on the fitness industry, and they come out with, can't remember some of the products, like programs were like 10 minutes abs of still, and 15-minute buns, and 5-minute biceps, right? Like cheesy stuff, but it's selling. Like people are buying these things. And pretty soon the company starts growing. And after a while they go, okay, like we're good at selling stuff and we're good at marketing, but we have no idea about legal stuff, or we don't know much about finance and accounting. We don't know about merchandising and all this other stuff. And all of a sudden they create their board of directors. Their board of directors are people that have experience in growing successful businesses. Doesn't necessarily need to be in the same industry and sector that they're in, but there are people that are proficient in finance and accounting, have legal backgrounds, have HR connections, have all these things that Carl and John need to build a strong, long-term, solid company, right? Let's look at you as a coach, right? You get started, you're an emerald coach, you get to become a diamond coach, and things are moving along. What I would submit to you that I believe will create consistency and kind of create that long-term vision and discipline to keep doing what you need to do is you need to create a board of mentors. Board of mentors, right? Many times I think people simplify it and say, who's your mentor? Find just one mentor. I don't believe that you need just one mentor. The reason why I don't believe that is there's multiple facets to your life. If you focus on just one facet, guess what? You're going to do it at the expense of other facets of your life, right? You spend too much time with your family, maybe you're not building business. You spend too much time with your business, maybe your spiritual life is suffering, right? So what I would tell you is choose 3 to 4 areas that you want to focus on, right? Maybe it's family, maybe it's fitness, maybe it's business and spiritual, right? Family, fitness, business, and spiritual. Just complete examples. You choose whatever is important to you. And under each category, I want you to write down a list of 2 people per category, people that you respect when it comes to to family, people that you respect when it comes to fitness, people that you respect when it comes to business, right? Role models, mentors, people that you can learn from. And this is an idea that actually Miguel Carrasco, who's the top Canadian coach, uses. Right? I'm literally giving you things that top coaches are using so that you can add those to your tool belt. And what he has found was that some of the mentors that might be under business might be under fitness as well, right? And vice versa. But choose people that you consider, people that you emulate, people that you can reach out to, and people that you can learn from, because it is the shortest route to you being successful and reaching your goals, whatever your goals are, right? And I think it is so important. And again, this is just a friendly alliance with people with 1 or 2 options that will help you reach that definite purpose that you have. So again, in kind of summarizing, number 1, raise your standards. Number 2, write down your action plan and create routines. Number 3, close your mind to all negative influences. And number 4, create your board of mentors, right? So as we close this, I want to share something. I'm going to share my screen. And I want to challenge you because information, all this stuff that I'm sharing here could be just information. And information that is not used is just entertainment. And we're not here to be entertained. We're here to build businesses. We're here to influence some lives. So I want to share something that actually a coach that I work with, Aaron Young, shared. And I thought it would be a cool thing kind of as a challenge that I want to extend to you to finish the year strong, okay? So hang on just 1 second. I'll share my screen. Okay, share screen. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can see this. Christy, can you see it? Okay. All right, so this is a Be a Life Changer, challenge, okay? This is essentially having a goal. It's a simple thing that Aaron Young and Erica Buzzard shared recently. Essentially, your goal is to help four people every single month for the balance of the year, right? We've talked about helping people, and this illustrates essentially, what how the plan would work, and obviously the monetary rewards. You'll see there's 4 customers in September. This includes the Challenge Pack commission. This assumes that they are club members, and then it also assumes that they obviously stay on, as you can see in green, the Shakeology residual, right? And so you'll see it cascade from September to December. And if you can help 4 new people each month, by the end of December, you will be able to pay off hopefully some Christmas gifts or some holiday gifts, right? So I thought it would be a pretty cool thing. I want to share that, but I also want to challenge you to use all this information to finish the year strong. Christy, I'm gonna send this to you, but just know it's also on the Central Region page, and Shannon can share that as well from the Central Region page. But here's what I'm going to challenge you, okay? Every single one of you is at a different place in their business and in their lives. If you look at the year as a marathon, okay, we're in month 9. We're in month 9. We're going into month 10, 11, and 12. If you look at it as a marathon, right this month is like mile 18. And I've shared my marathon story before. For any of you that have run a marathon, you know that after running about 18 miles, you still have about 8 more miles to run. So although you have ran like crazy for 18 miles, you hit a wall because you've ran a lot of miles, and it just kind of feels like the arrival line, the end goal is so far, yet you've done so much. And some of you are in that position where you're starting to question your sanity, like I talked about. When you start questioning whether you should finish the year strong, when you start questioning your training, when you start questioning your upline, you start questioning yourself, and you're looking at the arrival line and it just feels like it's forever away, right? Well, I can tell you that, first of all, if you really stay consistent, you're going to get there. But staying consistent is not enough if you don't shield yourself from those negative influences, if you don't have that board of mentors that you can lean on, if you don't create routines for the balance of the year that you can follow through with, and if you don't raise your standards. Super important to do that. And I can tell you, I ran the marathon, I finished the marathon. What I'm hoping to do for every single one of you is to celebrate you as you cross that finish line. Here is really the goal for that finish line. Many of you have some big goals, whether it's Premier or Elite, advancing to Diamond or Star Diamond. I'm not going to go into kind of the nitty-gritty, right? But what you want to do is you want to look back. When we talk December 31st, 2016, that you have left everything on the table, that you have done everything in your power to reach your goals. Whether you reach your goals or not is outside of your control. The things that are within your control is what you do every day. And I remember, I want to say, Christy, it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It was, I swear, Christmas Eve, like the 24th. And I was outside filling up, the fuel to my car. And here's a call coming through, and it's Christy Parmore. And she had a big goal to become an elite coach that year. And she was going to do it by any means necessary. And we're literally talking strategy. And like that afternoon we spoke, that early evening we spoke, and later on I was doing some last minute shopping. We spoke again, right? Now, we're not, she will be the first to tell you that she's not a big fan of working on Christmas Eve. But she basically said, whatever, by any means necessary, I'm going to make this happen, because her goal was important enough for her. And I remember that year, December 31st came, And that January, it was one of the funnest calls to make, to call her and tell her that her and her teammates are an elite coach team. And whatever it is for you, Kim, or Shannon, or Lori, or any of you that are dialed in, whatever it is, I hope that you take pride in the discipline that you have, and I hope that you remain persistent for the balance of the year. You can do it. Other people can absolutely done it. The only question is, why not you? So, Christy, thanks for having me on. I want to toss it back to you. I have a few questions. If anybody has questions or comments, feedback, or anything like that, please let me know. But I want to toss it back to you, Christy, before we end the call.
Thank you. And it was totally worth all the hard work. And I actually did work Christmas Eve that year to help our team go elite. And it was a team effort. I mean, the whole team came together and we're like, let's do this. Let's be an elite team. And it was totally a teamwork. And in talking with you and just, you know what I mean? It was just the most awesome feeling to know that our team did it. So yeah, this has been such a fabulous call. I really appreciate you taking all this time with us.
Absolutely. Glad it happened. So let's open up, see if there's any feedback, comments, questions, anything at all. And if not, then I'll ask a few questions to a few of you.
I have one.
Yes, jump in. Thank you, Lori.
So yeah, thank you very much. This was great. I took a lot of notes. I think it's all good stuff I can share with my team. So I feel like I am very dialed in on, especially on the daily activities, the income producing activities, connecting with people, adding people to my network, messaging people, following up. The issue that I have is duplication. So I can recruit, I can add coaches. My coaches are struggling with adding coaches, and I'm struggling with how to help them add coaches.
Awesome.
So I don't know if that's a completely separate topic, but for me personally, I have my 5 potential people that could be diamond for me to get to elite for this year, but it's like all the stars have to be aligned. And I really need to help them to be able to do that and hold that rank, and then obviously still add more people myself. So I don't know if you have any tips on like the duplication side of it.
Absolutely. I've got a few of them. But before I do share those, how many hours would you say you're dedicating to working with your team? Does that kind of, depend by week? And how are you working with your team right now?
So I work full time. So I'm in medical sales, and I work from about 6 a.m. to 4.
Okay.
So then I do my income producing activities, first. Mm-hmm. And then I don't do team calls because all of my coaches work full time also. Mm-hmm. So we have a hard time getting people on calls. So I have a group chat that I give them all of my, if I find a really great training video, I share that on there. We kind of do it all via group chat. And then I am doing a Diamond Dash group starting on the 11th of October with my Elite Success Partner. So we're going to do a 30-day group based on the Breakthrough Academy, which is a program that I'm doing. So in terms of team calls and stuff, I don't do that.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So here's what I have found works both for people that are working a full-time job and building a business, or people that are building a business full-time. And it's 3 things, okay? 3 things that I think have been hugely helpful. Matter of fact, I've suggested that, and someone developed 2 diamonds in 2.5 months last time. Okay, so number 1 is I believe that you have got to identify who your 5 are. And it sounds like you know exactly who they are. Because you don't have a lot of time, rather than do group stuff, you got to do more individual stuff. You got to do more follow-up with those people. So the first thing that I'll tell you to do is to identify those and to set up a 20 to 30-minute Zoom chat. Zoom, actually when you get on the phone with them, I'm going to say 30 minutes, weekly Zoom chat with each of those, with each of those 5. Okay. The individual approach, I think, just works wonders. Okay. So that's number one. When you set up those group chats, the goal is really threefold. Number one, when you're getting on the call with them, you're reviewing what they did the prior week. So they need to be 100% accountable. Accountability just changes things, right? So number one, when you get on the Zoom, let's say you're meeting with, I don't know, Sandra, you're asking Sandra, what did you do this past week, right? Your goals were these. What did you do this past week? Number two, you then need to set up goals for the next week, right? And the goals are activity goals. These are not, you're going to be a Success Club at Success Club 5, or you're going to sign up coaches. These are all activity goals, right? The income producing activities. Remember, you're teaching them to do what it is that you do, which you're very proficient at, right? So number two, accountability around that. Number three, you're leaving time, Lori, for you to shadow their conversations. I find that most coaches, they either say too much, or they don't know what to say, or they don't know how to follow up, right? And each of them are a bit different from the other, right? So one of the things that you would ask them to do, ask them to let you either log in as them, or have them send you just transcripts of the messages that they have. So you can really go through it and coach them on what to do and how to do it, right? That's the block right there. They have a block in terms of how to relate to people, how to invite, how to connect without selling, and how to follow up. Chances are people need, you're in sales, so you understand the 5 to 7 rule. You got to follow up 5 to 7 times. And I think people just give up after time 1 and 2. They're done, right? Whereas if you know exactly who your 5 are, you know what their contact list looks like, you know what their messages looks like, and you're helping them simplify, and you're helping them spend time doing the income producing activities. That has been the best way to do it, right? The group approach works, Lori, but I find that people kind of get lost in the group. Some people just kind of become fly on the wall, and they're like halfway in, halfway out. They're not putting in the effort. I would rather just focus on on a few of the ones that are going to be runners. Here's the beautiful thing about doing that, right? If what rank are you right now, Lori? You're obviously a 2-star.
Yeah.
And have you opened your second business center?
Yeah. So that would be my 3rd.
That's your 3rd. You're only 2 away. If you work with 5, you're only 2 away from being a 5-star diamond. Currently, you are, I'm looking at your numbers, you're going to have the 135 elite points.
Yeah.
You have the velocity of growth through your ATV. So you're going to get that. What you need to focus on now is really just boning in on those 5. You need 2 of them to hit down, right? Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen, you're going to start with 5. One is going to kind of disappear a bit. The other one is going to do things halfway. Now you've got 3 to work with to get 2 more, right?
Okay.
So that's what I would do. That's the thing that has worked the best.
Okay, awesome. Super helpful. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad it helped. Other questions, comments? Thanks for the question, Lori. Great question. Stacy, ready to go? Finish strong? Fran? Okay, so let me wrap up with this, okay? Stacy, you just unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I thought you wanted a response.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm trying. It's been, the last few months have been rough. My coaches are dropping like flies right now, so I'm getting back in it, and I'm trying as hard as I can to follow up and just keep going.
And so that's always an interesting one, right? When you feel like like you fill up the bathtub, and then the faucet is open a little bit, right? Like the water is coming out, so you've got to it's the water is emptying, and you're like trying to replace that. What I find is that some people are just either don't understand what coaching is, or it's just not the right time, right? And you've got to go in with a mindset that quite a few people are just not going to get the picture. Mm-hmm. Quite a few people are still stuck in that kind of thinking that I was talking about, that failing is a bad thing. And they're afraid to fail, so they would rather not even play or try, right? And at a key point, you have to make the decision that I'm going to work with only the willing, and I'm going to really reserve my energy. Because if you spend a lot of time kind of chasing people, it takes energy away from, kind of doing the activities that will create a new coach. The mental game that we play with ourselves is, gosh, I spent so much time working on that person that, gosh, they should be coaches. They should be diamond by now. I mean, they should be an emerald at least, right? And now you're spending all that time working with that coach that's not producing, that's on the verge of quitting, versus talking to someone that could end up being a coach, right? So I absolutely agree that it takes discipline, right? It takes a lot of discipline, to just discipline yourself before you find those disciplined coaches, right? So really good point. So I want to end, Kim. I'm going to ask you to come off of mute, Kim Hale. I'm going to pick on you. Between now and the rest of the year, right? If you were to say between now and the balance of the year, let's tackle a few things here. What are your obstacles? What are the things that you're running into? Or is everything going great for you?
I wish. I'm having a problem finding working coaches. So I have no problem getting people to do challenge packs or even signing up as a coach if they're going to continue with Shakeology because they want a discount. But that's kind of where I get stuck. I haven't found anyone that's really a go-getter. I've got a team full of coaches, but nobody who wants to go further with it. So that's kind of where I'm stuck right now.
Okay. So here's an exercise I would recommend you do in your page of PS coaches. Do you have a page just for your PS coaches?
Yes.
So I would go in there. Have you heard of the category, the 3 categories, 1, 2, 3 of coaches? If not, let me describe it for everybody that might not have heard it. Maybe they were watching the recording. If coaches fall under 3 categories, category 1 are going to be your coaches that are probably more discount coaches that at the most, they just want their Shakeology paid for. So that's category 1 coach. Category 2 coach is a coach that has between 5 and 10 hours a week that not only wants to get their Shakeology paid for, but they want to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month above and beyond what they're making with their business, right? In paying Shakeology, after paying Shakeology, they have an excess of $500 to $1,000 a month. Okay, that's category 2, and they typically have about 10 hours, let's say. Category 3 coaches are coaches that want to build a full-time business. I would guess most of you on here want to build a full-time business, right? You want to be full-time, create a full-time income. Those are category 3 coaches. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to go into your, into that coach page and post, describe what a category 1, 2, 3 is, and then ask the question of, will you post below what category you are or want to be?
Okay.
What you're going to find is most people are going to say they're a category 3. Even the people that you thought there's no way they're a category 3, right? They're going to say I'm a category 3, but these are people that are not doing much with their business, right? And that's okay. After that, what you want to do, Kim, is what you've done is you've essentially identified the people that are raising their hands and saying, hey, I want to work, right? After you've done that, take those category 3 aside, put a Zoom call together like this with those category 3s, and essentially kind of like let them know the rules of the game, right? A category 3 has at least 15 hours a week to work their business. They make a commitment to doing the vital behaviors every single day, and they start producing results within 60 to 90 days. But they only produce results if they take the steps that I'm going to share with you, right? What you're wanting to do is you want to siphon and filter after you talk to them, after you tell them what it takes, who the real category 3s are. That's how you find your working coaches, from the coaches that you currently have, right? That will be hugely helpful, and I know it'll produce, hopefully it will help you. Sometimes it's a matter of clarifying it with your coaches, what a category 3 is and what a working coach is. That's one way. The second way is, I don't believe in necessarily putting out that you're looking for working coaches. I think some of your best challengers make the best coaches. Some of your best challengers make some of the best coaches. Here, I want to share with you a system that Micah Folsom uses. She's a 15-star diamond. She still runs challenge groups. Kim, do you run challenge groups?
Yes.
Okay, good. I don't want to talk about the system if you're not even running challenge groups, right? So it'll be pertinent to what you do. Okay, so Micah has been doing it the same way since she started. When she started back in 2013, she went from 0 to 5-star diamond in like 6 months. From July to December, she was a 5-star diamond. Just unbelievable. Okay, so here's what she does. She sets up her challenge groups. After about week 2, you'll know the person that is really into the challenge group. You're going to know the people that are showing up, that are commenting, that are liking, that are engaged in the challenge groups. Okay? She never posts anything about sneak peeks or backstage passes in her challenge groups. The point of the challenge group is to help people transform their fitness levels first, right? Okay, what she'll do, let's say she finds, Tamara and Fran are her rock stars, rock star challengers. She'll reach out to them and she'll ask 3 questions. These are the same questions she asks all the time to these performing, right, challengers. Question number 1 is, how do you like your Shakeology? Okay, what's your favorite recipe? There's a reason why she's asking that question, though. What do you like, best about your Shakeology? Well, I love the way it's made me feel. It's been a great compliment to my, to my weight loss or fitness goals or whatever, right? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, has anybody commented on kind of the new journey that you've taken or some of the inches and pounds that you've lost, right? That's question number 2. And typically it's like, yeah, my spouse or my friends at work or at church or whatever have commented about, my fitness journey, right? That's number 2. Number 3, and by the way, she signs, I should have started by, she signs everybody as customers. She doesn't sign them up as coaches. She signs them up as customers, okay? There's a reason for that. Question number 3 she asked is, do you like discounts? Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a discount, right? Now she's telling, these coaches have said yes 3 times. Okay, so she goes right into, okay, well, friend, thank you so much for answering that. What we're going to do is we're going to transition you. You're going to still be a challenger, but I'm going to transition you to becoming a coach, because I find that the best way for you to truly make this a lifestyle is for you to be accountable to other people. Right? So we're going to do 2 things. I'm going to help you co-host your own you and I are going to co-host a challenge group, right? We're going to do it together, but I'm co-hosting with you. And then number 2, we're going to rock the basics together. So it's like Coach Basics. We're going to do a quick Coach Basics together, right? What is the first thing that those customers say? Whoa, I'm in the middle of my fitness journey. I don't want to do this. It sounds like I'm going to have to sell. Same excuse, or same, not excuses, but, kind of same pushback that all of you have heard before from your challengers. But she says it with such posture. She doesn't give them a chance to say, no, I don't want to do it. She basically says it's going to happen. It's in the way she says it. It's in the posture that she uses, right? So she'll keep them in a challenge group, but they'll start a different challenge group. She'll teach them how to invite. She'll teach them how to run an effective challenge group, and then she'll teach them how to invite people to become coaches from that challenge group. And now the duplication happens. After 30 days, she removes herself from that challenge group, and she teaches Tamara and Fran to run those challenge groups themselves, right? And she does that like clockwork, right? Like clockwork. Matter of fact, she just had a leadership retreat that came through our Utah office. One of her 5-star diamonds, we asked her, like, hey, how did you get started as a coach? And you know what her answer was? She said, well, when Micah called me and told me that I'm going to be a coach, she's a 5-star elite coach. And she says the way she started was when Micah told her that she's going to be a coach, right? See, I think a big part of this is just the confidence and how you communicate, right? If you're kind of like, tentative around it, then they're going to feel tentative and they're going to say, yeah, I don't think I'm cut out for this, right? Whereas if you tell them you are going to be a coach, I'm going to help you, it's a completely different way. Right. So that's the Micah Folsom way. It's worked very well for her. She was a top 10 using that same method. And, she's been very successful. So hopefully that helps out a little bit, Kim.
Thank you.
Sorry. That's actually the exact system I use. I didn't even know that was her system. I just kind of do that. Anita Myron does the opposite. She signs up everybody as a coach. So she signs up everybody as a coach first to get the discount on Shakeology. So how do you feel about the two different? They're both very successful coaches, but Anita signs up everybody right away. Doesn't give them an option right away and signs them up as a coach first.
Yeah, I'm and especially with what we've been talking about, I'm a fan of the Micah Folsom way. Anita's way works. I mean, she's the top 10 coach, superstar diamond, right? But the quality of coach and the the retention of the coach is much higher if a coach has an experience with Shakeology, a trainer, a workout, and then a tight bond with you as a coach. Might feel like the organic route to go, but people still build exceptionally strong businesses going the customer route, right? So if anything, here's what I'll tell you. If you've been doing things a certain way, don't be afraid to try a different way, okay? Matter of fact, I talked to a former top 10 coach. He was completely stuck. And then all of a sudden, like this month, she's going to sign 25 coaches, whereas before she couldn't sign more than 4. Okay, so that 4 might be like a big number to a lot of us, right? But for her, she was used to signing 10 to 15. And then all of a sudden, she starts signing 4 or less. What she did was she just really tried a lot. She tried different approaches on her social media post. She tried different kind of advertising. She just tried different approaches. And so this business, and especially as it's changing, you want to change with it and try different things. Once you find something that works, though, then keep it the same. Don't change it too much because you won't really duplicate if you change it too much, right? So that's that, Christy. I wanted to end there. We're past the hour, and so I know a lot of you have got kids waiting in the back there. Or you got your spouse watching them, and they're beating against the door or something. So, Christy, I wanted to thank you.
We're having like a hurricane or something. Like we're having like really strong winds, and our chair just flew across our porch. Oh my son said, "Mom, our chair just flew off our porch." So that's what's going on right now. Yeah.
Okay, well, be safe and go take care of that.
No, I mean, it's funny because that's exactly how I do this, the same way that she does it, but I didn't get it from anyone. It just kind of works, for me personally. Yeah. And then there's a lot of people that do it Anita's way, and it works for them. And they're both growing great teams, but I just taught a fitness class. I had somebody refer me to a Mona Shores middle school a month ago, and it was a half an hour drive, and I thought I'm going to pay it forward. And my daughter, I got her out of school for a couple hours because she loves size. She knows the whole thing by heart. And so the two of us this morning at 8:45, we taught size to like tons and tons of middle school kids, 8th grade, the whole 8th grade middle school. And anyway, she led the whole thing. My whole daughter knows the whole thing by heart because we've been doing it for so long. And anyways, the gym teacher wanted me to go over the finance part of it. Like she wanted, because they do like classes on debt and like different like jobs you can do. So she wanted me to go over. She said, "Do you mind kind of telling us what it's done for your family?" And she wanted us to go completely into it. So I was talking about health and eating right. Then I was talking about how we've been able to, completely be debt free because of Beachbody. And anyways, she's good. She's like, she was top of her, she went to University of Michigan and she was like top of her class and she was homecoming queen, everything. Like she knows everybody in the whole area. She's signing up as a coach with me because of that, just because I went there. She's the gym teacher. So I think she'll be a really neat, and she's already, used some of the products through the infomercials. She just bought some of the products and she really likes some of the, the workouts and stuff. So she's like, she had no clue. So there's so many people out there. Like she is a gym teacher that knows everybody and she's never been approached by a Beachbody coach ever. So I'm just giving that as an example. There's so many people out there to help. So many.
Absolutely. So listen, thanks for being on. I hope this was helpful and valuable for you, and look forward to celebrating you. And let's just leave it all on the table between now and December 31st. And we'll look back and think that we're proud of.
This training has been awesome, and I love the questions that you guys asked. I think they're great questions. So I took 3 pages of notes, just great reminders and everything. So thank you so much for everything. Sorry, my house.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.